Today we're going to talk about percent of number. Percent of number. Percent, again, usually go from 0% to 100%. Those are the benchmarks. These are what we use pretty much in middle school. So, for example, 0% is like nothing. 100% is like the whole or full. None. So, like for example, let's have a circle, percent circle. If you fill in the whole thing, it's 100%. If you fill in none of it, is 0%. If you fill in half of it, it's 50%. If you fill a quarter of it, it's 25%. So, a couple ways you could do this. For example, you have a number from 0 through 20. If I fill in 50% or half of this, the number will be, so here's 100%, here's 0%. It will be 50%. So it's from 0 to 20. If I fill in right here in the exact middle, 25%, that would be 5. If I fill in 75%, that is between 50 and 100, or that will be between 10 and 20, is 15. A couple ways we can teach it. Mostly we teach through the formula called part over whole equal percent over 100. For example, so part over whole equal percent over 100. So for example, you're at a store. Something costs $20, and you see a big sign that says 40% off. So $20, 40% off. How much discount will you say? How much would you save? So let's see, is $20 part or the whole price? $20 is the whole price. What percent are you saving? 40%. So we need to figure out the part. So, a couple ways you can do it. You can do skip through scale factor if that's easier. So how many 20s go in 100? 5 times. So something times 5 is 40. $8 is part. So $8 is what you save. If the regular price is $20 and you save $8, the new price is $12. That's a new or sales price. Let's try. Another way you can teach it is this way. Again, so many ways, so many strategies to teach in mathematics. This is another way to do it. It's called cross multiplication. This is what some 8th grade, 7th grade teachers teach it as. What you do is you cross multiply these two numbers. What's 20 times 40? 800. And you cross multiply this, which is 100 part. 100 of part of the number will be 100 groups of this number will be 800. 100 groups of what? Is it $8? Let's divide it and figure out. Divide. 100 divided by 100. 800 divided by 100 is 8. That's how much you save. So I'm not sure which one you prefer. Some kids like scale factor. What do I multiply by? And then get the answer. Some people like cross multiplication. Whichever is easier to do. Let's try another example. You have a pair of pants. And it costs $30. The tax rate is 8%. What is your price with the tax? Because tax, you pay for my salary. The government's, I help pay for the government. All right, so we have part over whole equal percent over 100. So $30 is the whole price. I agree. The percent is 8%. 100 goes there, part. How many 30s go into 100? If you're going to do a scale factor, you can simplify this. That becomes 450. That becomes 225. Still does not go in. Oh no, I don't think we can do scale factor this way. You know what? I think I'm going to go through the cross multiplication. I think it's easier. I mean, of course, you could try to figure out how many 25s going in 30, but by the time you figured it out, you could have done the cross multiplication and save time. Let's cross multiply. 30 times 8 is 240. 100 part. 100 groups of something makes 240. 100 groups of 2. Is 100 groups of 2? 100 groups of 2. That's 200. That's 40 left over out of 100. I wonder if it's $2.40. Let me see. Divide by 100. Divide by 100. 240 divided by 100 is 2. Whoops. Add a thing, and there's 0. Decimal point. I should have lined this up neater. Get 100 goes in 400 4 times. 0. So 2 is $2.40. So if a pants costs $30 and the tax is $2.40, the total price will be $32.40. So let's try one last example for percent of number. So you have part over whole equal percent over 100. Imagine you go to a restaurant, and you spent, I don't know, let's say you spent $32. Should I leave 15% or 20%? So 15% is for average service, 20% is for pretty good service. Some people say 20% is average service and 25% is good service. So it's up to you as to, I'll say I'll leave 50% off, 15%. That's my tip. That's how much I'm going to leave the waitress. So $32 is the whole price. I don't know what part of it is. That's what I'm going to find. 50% is that. It's how much tip. So can 32 go on 100? No, it cannot. I think we're going to have to do cross multiplication. So what is 32 times 15? I prefer lattice. This is what I'm going to do. Again, do what you feel comfortable with. As long as you get the correct answer of 7, 8, 480. And then you have 100 part. 100 groups of something makes 480. 100 groups of, I'm going to do this in my head. 4. That's 400. The remainder is 80. So it's 80 hundredths, $4.80. Let's check because I don't trust myself sometimes. 480 divided by 100 is 4. The remainder is 80. Add a decimal. 0. Okay, and it goes in 8 times. So it's $4.80. So if my restaurant bill is $32 and I leave $4.80, my final cost is $36.80 for restaurant bill with tax and this tip. So in percent of number, you've got to know your formula of part over whole equal percent over 100. Sometimes you can do do scale factors, but most people prefer to cross multiply where you multiply diagonally and divide by the third number, percent of number.